What is World Conqueror 3D, you're probably asking? If you look online, there's barely any information about it. There's no reviews of it on Metacritic, Professional or User. There's no official YouTube review. Now, I did see one video that said review at the end, but it was just gameplay, there was no speaking. The game got a negative review on Nintendo Life, saying it was mostly playable, and it got a few positive reviews on smaller sites. But that doesn't really tell us much of what the game actually is about. So you could say this is the first review of the game in video form. So what is World Conqueror 3D? Before you play the game, make sure to read the manual, and when you go into the game, the introduction on the home screen to get an idea of what you're getting into. Once you've done that, ignore the top option. You'd think that's what you click, but it's actually the second option. I recommend you start off with campaigns. Campaigns is made up of missions based on real life battles during history. Conquest is the same, but instead of like specific battles, it's a whole world war. I wouldn't recommend starting off there because it just takes way too long to do. So the historic battles range from the specific war to the D-Day in Normandy. You can choose whether to be the Allies or the Axis. The only thing is, if you choose the Axis, you only get a choice from Japan, Germany or Italy, and most of the time there's only one of those you can pick for each mission, though not always. 7 of the biggest countries and Italy in the game all have special abilities. This can be from deploying troops in the sea, it could be like blowing up troops in a space, it could be converting troops into tanks. This adds a bit more tactics to the game. The only bad thing is if you're a smaller country you don't get that ability, which I didn't like. It would have been nice even having an ability that's not quite as good but still interesting. I think they could have done that. I haven't seen any country rated less than 2 stars. There's 2 to 5 stars, 2 being India, the 3 being Italy, 4 being Britain, 5 being America. If you're a high level country you can just like attack everybody. Don't really worry too much about defense. If you're like a 3 star or a 2 star or even a 4 star in some cases, you're going to have to be a lot more defensive because your allies are going to be the ones doing all the attacking, so you're not going to have that massive army to back you up. A good combination is the fortress card and the marshal card. Each turn you get taxes from the land you take over, and you can convert that money into power-ups, and these power-ups are done through cards. So you can buy a basic unit, you can buy tactical cards. There's general, which increases a unit's attack, or marshal, which increases the defense. However, if the opponent is powerful enough, these cards will disappear. There's also fortress, which gives you a defensive boost for 3 turns. However, you can't attack or move. But if you're a small country and you're defending from a larger country from all corners, I highly recommend using fortress and marshal. It's a good combination and it will get rid of those forces, because if you have that kind of defense, most of the time you are going to win the battles. Even though the battles are all luck based, in the animation a die is rolled for the troops. A maximum of 5 troops can enter a battle, and there's no real reason why you would do less than 5. If you had less than 5 troops, you're better just retreating, not taking the risk. But if you have 5 troops and they have 5 troops or whatever, a dice will roll for each troop, and based on the dice roll it will reveal how many troops each side loses. Soldiers are the weakest, tanks and artillery are stronger, so most of the time you're gonna I'd recommend using one of those, though artillery can't move once they kill somebody, but tanks can. A lot of people compare the game to Risk. One thing that's missing from the game is multiplayer. Like, it would have been quite handy. You and a friend could be both on the same side, or you could be on like different sides. Like, that would have been a very interesting dynamic. Another bad thing is there's only one song. Now the song is very good, like it matches the tone of the game, it's very atmospheric, but it would have been nice to have like a few more tracks in there. Overall, World Conqueror 3D, it was created by a small company called Circle, and for now on I'm going to be giving games a grade based on what I expect from the company and how much I enjoyed the game. I found the game more enjoyable than what I thought I would, despite the low reviews. I actually bought the game by accident years ago. It does drag on a wee bit, the battles, and you can't skip the opponent's its turns, and they could have added a bit more variety to the game as well. But I think this is a solid attempt, and I would give the game a B. It's a solid effort, and if there's any more games like that, maybe I'll give them a shot.